Hey there, everybody. My name is Kyle, and this is WP Roundtable, episode 140. I'm excited today to be joined by Mr. Syed Balkhi. Syed, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me, Kyle.
I appreciate it. I've wanted to have you on the show for a long time. You've been making waves in the WordPress space for quite a while. I've been following everything that you do. I mean, I was learning things on WP Beginner years ago. And you've been kind of the man or one of the men behind a lot of important brands in the WordPress space. So definitely there's a lot of things that we could talk about. We're going to try and get through as much as possible today. But thank you for taking time out of your afternoon to join us on the show.
Yeah.
All right. So we could list a few of the brands that you may be known for. I've used a lot of the products that you've been a part of making over the years. WP Beginner is one of your early initiatives as a learning resource blog, which is still quite vibrant and extremely helpful. And I'm frequently recommending it at our meetup groups to new beginners. And you are behind Optinmonster, one of your flagship products, Enviro Gallery, Soliloquy Slider, WP Forms, and the theme lab, is that it?
Yeah, we're not doing theme lab anymore, but we're doing Monster Insights.
Monster Insights. That was on my list. Yep, yeah. That's a really awesome product that you guys are doing some amazing stuff with these days. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on in your camp, and your primary company behind everything is Awesome Motive.
Yep.
All right. So that's our introductions. And before we start diving into what all these things are and what it is that you're up to, and a little bit of how you got there, we like to share quick picks of the week. So a couple of new things that I came across recently that entertained me. One, startupgraveyard.io. It's kind of a funny new little site that takes a look back at some of the fun startups that maybe we've appreciated over the years, but ultimately failed. And the other one was Mockaroo.com. Mockaroo.com is a pretty handy random data generator that can be just super helpful when you're testing sites and working on development projects to just generate large amounts of data in CSV or XML format, import into something and just test your code. So that's a really helpful tool. Syed, do you have any quick pick to share with us today?
Man, I didn't know you were going to be talking about quick picks. So one of the things that I recently came across is called a tool called Notion.so. It piqued my interest, and I've been wanting to try it out. It's a unified workspace. So for your notes and your wikis and your collaboration, instead of you using Google Docs and Dropbox Paper and then Trello or Basecamp and it basically combines all of that in one. And that has been something that as a company that we're growing, we want to centralize. And I came across this tool, so I've been wanting to check it out, but I have not checked it out yet. So, but that looked pretty cool.
Hey, that's an awesome thing to share, and I'd love to take a look at it myself. So let's dive in a little bit, if you don't mind, and try and cover your background. But there's a lot of things that I want to talk about that you're actively involved with right now, but let's catch people up to how you got where you are today. In particular, I was hoping that we could go back to a point before your career really got on track, before you started any businesses or had much of any jobs going for yourself. You were a young Syed, and you said, I want to do something with my life. Something. I've got ideas, and I have high aspirations. I'm very hopeful and optimistic. What was it that you wanted to do, and how did you take your first steps to accomplish something?
Well, I've kind of been an entrepreneur all my life, starting age 7, if you want to go as far back. Online entrepreneur since age 12. My family moved to the United States, and I didn't speak English. My dad was working 3 jobs just to make ends meet. And I basically wanted to figure out a way to earn my pocket money, earn an allowance. And I didn't speak English very well, at least, and I had a very thick accent at the time. So I decided to, see what I can do on the internet. And my cousin pointed me in the direction of buying and selling domain names. So I had my end goal was, so I can earn like $5 or $6 every week, so I can buy a Mountain Dew at school every day. That was literally the goal. And And from domains to proxies to arcade sites to directories to social media and the whole shebang, to here we are with all this suite of software and publishing business that we have.
That's pretty exciting. Have you always lived in Florida?
Yes, my family moved here, and I have not left Florida. I went to college at University of Florida, stayed in Gainesville, and now I'm back in West Palm Beach where my parents are.
That's pretty cool. So you went to college at University of Florida. So all this time you were experimenting with some entrepreneurial ideas on the side. You said since you were 12, you were doing online things. And I can't imagine you took a long break from that. Tell us a little bit about when you first started to really do this professionally, make it a focus.
Oh man, I actually found a lot of success with my business when I was 13 years old. I was running a lot of proxy websites. Are you familiar with web-based proxies that allows you to bypass any sort of firewalls and stuff?
Oh, sure.
So I created this when I was in high school because I wanted to play games because I didn't have very many friends. So I would sit in the library to play games, and the school would block the game websites. So I created proxies, and that's how I got into the ad business, where I figured out all the other students have the same problem that I had. And I just started creating proxy after proxy after proxies, and would just slam ads. So if the school admin would block one, I would turn down that proxy website and park that domain name, and earn money on clicks because I had so much traffic going on it, and or I could turn around and sell the domain name as well because it had high amount of traffic. So I was making money there, and then because people wanted to know, hey, which arcade websites I was going to, I started, I created my own arcade websites, like turnkey arcade websites where I would point people to go play different Flash games.
Wow.
Think about like Miniclip, right? Miniclip games. I don't know if you remember that, but very similar to that. I had like dozens of these websites where people could go and play games on, and I was running my own ads. To promote my arcade websites, I became like I guess what you would call a power user on MySpace. I had like a bunch of like very, very popular profiles where I would send out bulletins to promote my arcade websites, and I was also selling bulletins, so I was making money that way. So I was making money online, and I was very successful. When I started like college, I had a 6-figure business. So it wasn't it wasn't like something that one day I woke up and realized I'm successful like this much. No, I've been doing pretty well for a long time.
That's pretty amazing. And you probably were well aware that this is maybe unique. There are not a lot of people who start college with a 6-figure business.
Yeah. My degree is in anthropology and religion. It had nothing to do with what I do for a living. I just like learning about people, their culture, their religion. So my degree is in that. I could have dropped out of college and not go, but it was fun.
That's fascinating. Well, there's a lot to be said for getting an education, and I'm sure your parents were encouraging there. Your father, you said, worked several jobs at the time when you moved here. Yeah. Did he have anything to do with the internet, or was that just you?
No, he had nothing. I mean, dude, if you were doing on the internet, you wouldn't need to work 3 jobs. My father worked at gas stations swiping items just to pay the bills.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And so what did your parents think when you started experimenting with this online thing and then earning legitimate money?
Well, my parents at first didn't understand it. I don't think they understand still what I do to this day. But they're very happy with the decision that I made.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's impressive. Okay. So you went to college and you finished up after that. And then, at some point, this is a legitimate business. You started expanding. What point did you get into kind of like WordPress as kind of being the primary market for you?
I started in WordPress in 2006, where we started kind of transitioning away and building websites on WordPress rather than custom PHP. And from 2006 to 2009, I did that, and I was using WordPress to turn up affiliate websites because I've been in the affiliate space for a long time. And WordPress just made it really, really easy for me to set up websites fast, churn out content, rank relatively high in Google for those things. So I started with WordPress in 2006.
Fascinating. Okay. And you started, so that's when you started using it as a tool.
That's correct.
For your, it's
and using it as like a tool to build websites for customers. But it wasn't until like 2008 where we went in and said to other people, hey, all my other clients, which we had on maintenance retainers, that we're no longer going to support these custom PHP stuff that we built. We're going to migrate you over to WordPress, and then kind of like end that retainer business, because that wasn't something that I wanted to do.
Sure. So at this point, you're saying you started to accumulate a team at the back in those days?
Yep.
All right. So what sort of people were you working with, and what roles were they playing? And
pretty much like just assistants, a lot of VAs, and also like one or two developers that were helping code the stuff. But VAs I had decent success with, some failure, some success with,
Sure.
and from Philippines. But after, as I started switching away, I wanted to get out of the services space, and I wanted to switch all my clients over to WordPress. My hope was that we would never have to deal with these retainer clients, so I can get rid of all these VAs. And turned out once I switched them to WordPress, they had the questions, hey, how do I do this in WordPress, and how do I do that in WordPress? And that kind of went on, stemmed the seed for WP Beginner.
Sure. I'm kind of curious what your speculation on this would be. If you had not grown up in Florida, if you had grown up somewhere else, how do you think your success and what you learned and your experiences would have been different? Just guessing.
I have no idea. It would be I'll be pulling something out of my ass and shooting in the dark. At that point, I don't know. I can't go back in time and change it. So I really don't know. Anything I make up will be a fabricated tale.
Do you believe that it was a fertile ground and a great place for you to do and learn what you did?
I think I was in a very unique circumstances and situations that definitely played a major role in me becoming what I am today. So I would definitely say that I was very hungry. I was very driven because of the family situation that I was in. Mm-hmm. If I wasn't, let's say I was growing up very, very well off, I probably wouldn't be as hungry or driven. I don't know, but I think my the way I was brought up, and the way I was raised, I think made me very hungry.
Wow, yeah, that's incredible. So at a certain point, you started using, like you said, around 2006 through 2008, you started transitioning to using WordPress as your primary tool for your businesses. And at a certain point, really kind of doubled down on the WordPress market. And at a certain point also, you started phasing out doing custom work for clients and focusing on your own initiatives. How did you begin to make that transition, and was it very abrupt?
No, so I've been in a affiliate space since also 2005 and 2006 time, and I understood the product business was really good, and I always wanted to create products, and I was behind the scenes involved in other products, whether it's info products and continuity programs in the online marketing space. I was behind the scenes involved in them, so I understood the process of launching products and make them successful. So it wasn't an abrupt transition. It was actually very planned and very smart transition. WP Beginner allowed us to have the media, so we can kind of launch stuff off of. So it was a platform for us to launch. Sure. So going in, that was the strategy. We launched, we did test launches with a sharing plugin, Smart Share Bar, which actually became Floating Social Bar. And then, we ended up launching several other initiatives that of, like now Optinmonster and Soliloquy and Envira and WP Forms and Monster Insights and Insert Headers and Footers and Insert Post Ad, and the list goes on. But yeah, the goal was to build a media platform and earn users' trust and respect before we start coming out with the best products in the space.
Sure. You were doing this in what we could probably consider the early days of the premium plugin space, getting into it. So at the time, you saw potential. You saw a market that was growing. You predicted it to continue to grow, and said there's opportunities here for premium plugins. Take us back a little bit to that time, if you don't mind, and describe, as you looked out at the landscape of WordPress and these the early days of premium products based on it. What did it look like, and what signals did you see that made you say, there's potential here, it's going to grow?
I mean, I wasn't the first one. There were people way before me, like Brian Gardner, from Studio Press, and Corey Miller, and 80 from Woo Themes, and Nick from Elegant Themes. So there was a lot of people that were established, or that were doing this before I ever stepped into a commercial WordPress product space.
Sure.
And talking with these people, I've always been close to them and consider them my friends. I saw how they were building their businesses and the different challenges and different successes that they had, and pretty much went from there. I think in the earlier days, it was easier to market things because of lack of competition. And I think that versus now, there's a lot more competition. If you like just type share plugins, there's like hundreds of them.
Right.
The WordPress ecosystem, and same thing with the contact form plugins or the backup plugins. There's like dozens of those. So I think you have the early mover and shaker advantage, but I don't think that us as a company were ever the first for anything.
Sure.
We always went on and used products that we and improved on them.
Sure. So now, a good number of years later, has the market changed in ways that you didn't expect?
It's interesting, like the impact that marketplaces have, such as Envato, has definitely impacted the market, especially the way prices are controlled. It's for the theme market. Before, some of the theme companies were the most successful companies in our ecosystem, and today the very same theme companies, their flagship product is rather a plugin, right? And
that's true.
Woo Themes being one of them. And iThemes even. So their initial products were themes, but now the market has shifted. So for Woo Themes, I think they want to change the name to WooCommerce. I think that will happen very soon when WooThemes.com goes to WooCommerce.com. If it doesn't happen already, I'm not sure.
I think it already did.
It does. Okay, right.
Yeah.
And so essentially, all these theme companies are going away because of the marketplace. You just race down to the bottom, and the development of WordPress actually got a lot easier, right? So I remember when in the early days you didn't have post thumbnails, right? If you wanted to create thumbnails, you had to like use custom fields and drop a URL there, and then have it all be parsed out. So the developing for WordPress has gotten a lot easier, with navigation menus, right? I remember that navigation menus was something that Woo Themes created in their system. Then it later got incorporated into the core and 3.0.
Right.
So the market has definitely shifted where like things are a lot easier for people to develop with. The APIs are very well documented, or I mean, we have APIs. Before there wasn't as many things that were standardized. So I mean, kudos to everybody who works in the core and the core team for working as hard as they do to make things standardized, giving APIs and functions that people can extend upon relatively easily. Has definitely changed the market.
Fascinating. So what are some examples of projects that you look back on maybe that didn't work out?
For who?
For you personally.
Okay. Yeah, so I started like a fitness website completely outside of WordPress ecosystem. It was powered by WordPress. That didn't work out. I acquired a theme company, right? Theme Lab. And then after a while, we decided that it wasn't something that we wanted to do, and just pretty much cut it down. So like right now, if you go to Theme Lab, you can't really buy a template. If the card is closed. So that's two examples that just come off top of my head, that things that we just tried to do but didn't work out.
When you look at the landscape right now, we can focus just on the WordPress space for a little bit. Do you think that the glory days of the WordPress economy are behind us right now, or still to come?
Dude, the glory days of WordPress are right now and ahead, right? It's just that if you think you were going to develop something and because you were a developer and you just put it out and you were going to win, no, those days are behind you. But people who understand marketing, this is the most that WordPress has ever had in terms of user base. So, right, in 2006, WordPress did not have this, giant of a market share. So
sure.
Today, as the market share keeps expanding, the glory days are right here. Right, you just need to know how to market. Market. That's it. As a matter of fact, I feel that we are still in a little bit of Wild West. As more and more private equity money is coming in, and VC money that's going to come in, that's going to change our landscape even more, because then people will have the money to hire professional marketers rather than, so it would be a disadvantage for developers to go alone. If you're a developer, if you have a marketing person or a business person along, you would need a team. You can't just be a solo and going down. You have to have a team of really smart people who understand, who are good at different sections that the business need in order for you to kind of blow something up.
That's, I think, a really brilliant distinction, because the answer to the question is, like, as you said, it depends on who you are. Really, if you're looking at just kind of doing a solo project and throwing up something that maybe is hastily thrown together, maybe the glory days are behind us, at the time where there was no competition and anything that was thrown up would get, first rank for the query. But today, if you're a serious business looking to invest, there's such a substantial user base that WordPress is highly attractive, and it continues to grow. So you're right on, I think, and that's a good distinction.
But I would say this is the glory days
right now.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Super exciting. Awesome. So let's talk just a little bit and kind of give an overview for anybody listening not too familiar with some of these products that we've mentioned that you're involved with. Let's try and talk about some of them individually. Let's start with the big one, Optinmonster. Tell us a little bit about that, briefly, its iterations, and who it's for.
Sure. So the goal of Optinmonster is to help websites convert abandoning visitors into subscribers and customers. So when most people that are coming to your website leave, that's a fact. Right?
Yeah.
Actually, all of them leave. But everybody comes to your website leave. Most of them never come back.
Right.
And our goal is to help you capture that visitor, turn them into an email subscriber as they're leaving, so then you can engage with them and turn those subscribers into customers. So it's basically for any business who have websites where people are leaving. and if you want to make get more subscribers, increase your revenue, Optinmonster is a tool. It helps you show the targeted message at the right time to the right person, whether it's in a form of a pop-up or it's in the form of a full screen overlay or a scroll box or something. Basically, our goal is to help you grow your email list and your sales. So Optinmonster, we started after me using several other existing solutions in the market, and I found none of them did what I really wanted to do, and kind of built Optinmonster for my own needs. And then people are like, "Hey, what tool are you using?" And well, it's our own, it's custom. Can you release it? And then we did, and we've kind of became the industry leader in this space, where you can't really talk about exit pop-up without mentioning Optinmonster, because we made it cool again.
It's awesome. And it's one of those products where, like, before I became familiar with the concept very much, I would have thought, oh, okay, yeah, that's kind of cool. I could see you getting some more leads from that. But then looking at some of the numbers that people are getting, it's staggering. Some of the increased conversion rates and increased leads, incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy. Mike Stelzner, he's a really good friend of mine from Social Media Examiner. He turned it on and, in 7 months got like more than 95,000 subscribers. And then we did like a case study with him and how Optinmonster helped him add more than 250,000 email subscribers to his list.
That's incredible.
Which is really, really crazy. You just, people think, oh, this pop-up, it must be annoying. Well, no, the reason why every other website that you go on has it, because they work. You have to offer the user the right thing. If you say, hey, just join my newsletter, that's not a good enough offer. But you say, hey, here's a valuable resource that I'm willing to give it to you if you join my newsletter, and you're adding value, it works tremendously.
That's incredible. Yeah, amazing product, doing really well. And helping a lot of businesses take advantage of those, as you said, all the visitors that are leaving. So next product, that one of the newer ones that you've been working on, Monster Insights. Tell us a little bit about that one.
So every year we do a census on WP Beginner where we ask users, hey, if there's one thing you could have us build or solve, and what would it be? And one of the answers was make Google Analytics easy. And Google Analytics is really, really hard. So we're like, okay, well, what are the challenges? Number one, the biggest challenge for WordPress website owners is setting up Google Analytics properly on your website. It's not just as simple as dropping a code in your header file. That's not it. You have to, have event tracking. You have to have e-commerce tracking. Depending on your use case, you have to add those proper codes and snippets at different areas of your website. So we thought, hey, should we build something like this when there's already so many things out there? Instead, we approached different, plugin owners to see if one was willing to sell. So we ended up buying the largest one in the market from Yoast. So this was previously called Google Analytics for WordPress by Yoast, or Yoast Analytics. And it wasn't really a primary focus for their business. So we ended up acquiring it. And right now, we spent more than 6 months rewriting the whole code from ground up to bring it up to date, to make it fast, to make it streamlined. And right now we're still, I would say, in phase 1 of the plugin itself. I see it in 3 phases. Phase 1 is integration, where we make the integration of Google Analytics to your WordPress site really, really strong, meaning sending all the data that you can to Google. So, you can do affiliate link tracking, you can do internal link tracking, you can do e-commerce tracking, all without touching any code. You basically just plug and play kind of thing. And so that's phase 1. We're still in it, I think next week or a week after, we're coming out with form tracking. So it will track all the forms, whether it's WP form, whether it's Gravity form, whether it's Ninja forms, any kind of form it will work with. So you can see, what kind of people are submitting your form, what kind of leads you're getting. So we're in phase 1 for that. We want to do memberships and a few other things. Then we'll focus on phase 2, which will bring all the data back. It's not an easy challenge that we took upon, making Google Analytics easy. Yeah. Right? That's by no means an easy task. So we're working in phases and trying to do as best as we can, and while working with an audience of over 1 million websites, like 1 million websites that use that software.
Incredible, yeah. So it's been, I think, if I remember right, just over a year since you acquired that?
Exactly. It's been just over a year since we acquired it. It's been a few months since we actually launched the new version. We launched it end of January.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So, 1 year later from the acquisition, how do you feel just reflecting on getting something out of this, what that you wanted, or learning from this process? Any surprises along the way?
One is a huge user base, so we always have edge case scenarios, which you normally don't have if you have a plugin that's run on 200,000 websites, right? If a plugin that's run on 1.7 million or 1.8 million websites, you run into a lot more issues than a smaller plugin.
Of course.
The other thing that we have the luxury of facing, which isn't the greatest of luxury, is that we have to be very careful about our API limits with Google. Because we have so many people and we have a certain allotment of API requests, we have to be very, very efficient in what we display, how we display it. So that's an interesting challenge that we're trying to work around. Which a lot of people think, why can't you just bring all of my dashboard inside my WordPress site? Right? It's while it sounds easy, it's not as easy because we have rate limits. And when you're talking about millions of websites, it's just not feasible unless everybody goes and creates their own apps and register it with the plugin, which then ruins the user experience. It eliminates most of the beginners, and we don't want to do that. So we're working on some creative workarounds to solve that problem. But other than that, I think that was a great acquisition for us. We've grown it a lot since launch, and yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious, for other people, other small businesses in WordPress in similar situations, looking maybe to expand in certain ways, what would you advise them about debating whether should we build a new solution or seek out something to acquire in making those kinds of decisions?
We always want to acquire because you're buying into a user base, rather than building from scratch. Building from scratch almost always is more expensive. Almost always is more expensive, rather than partnering up or acquiring the user base. It's easier. We tried to do that with the Forms plugin. It didn't work out. Nobody really wanted to sell, so we had to launch from the ground up. But if we could, if we could, we would have bought one.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, next topic then, WP Forms. I'm hearing some of the greatest things from its users. High compliments. Jared, I talked to him a lot recently. He's the lead developer on the project, Jared Atchison. Tell us a little bit about this WP Forms plugin?
So again, there was another thing that came out of the census survey. You would think that the contact form market is pretty well served, but it wasn't until the users brought it up. Like for me as an advanced user, sometimes I forget what the beginners feel like. Sometimes I have to really get out and say, I'm going to tackle it from a beginner's point of view. And when I saw, if you could have us build one product, what would it be? And so many people said contact form builder. And I'm like, are you serious? How many of these things exist? Isn't there like a Gravity Forms out there? Isn't there Contact Form 7? And it turned out people, didn't want to pay Gravity Forms price because it was only premium. Contact Form 7, it's Contact Form 7. It's the most powerful or most popular contact form plugin, but it's a horrendous user experience. You have to use shortcodes to create a form. And then you use shortcodes to embed that form. It's just terrible. So we decided, what can we do to make forms easy? And we started with that one model, right? We want to make this thing really, really easy for beginners. And launched it knowing that there was stiff competition in the market, but we've been doing great. We kind of innovated. We innovated. Unlike other plugins that were copying each other, we completely just said we're going to go our separate route. We're going to corner a different end of market. Right? There was Gravity Forms, and then a bunch of things that wanted to be like Gravity Forms. And then there was Contact Form 7, and we found that there was a void in the middle that didn't. And so that's the one we wanted to cater to the end users and the marketers. The business owners. We're not, I guess, the most developer friendly plugin. Anybody who wants to create really, really advanced forms, like super complex, add filters, hooks, and this and that, you should go to use Gravity Forms. That's a phenomenal plugin. But if you're an end user, if you're a marketer who just wants to spin up quick forms and do cool stuff, you want to use this, right? And yeah, we hit the market about a year ago, a little over a year ago now. It was last March that we launched it. Right now it's active on 200,000 websites.
That's incredible.
And if you have like a 5-star rating average, right? Yeah. So if you look at it, I think it's like 4.9. So WordPress.org rounds 4.9 to, and I think anything above 4.8 shows as 5-star. Yeah. I think we're like 4.9 if I calculated it right. It's 4.9. Yeah. And we've gotten like phenomenal feedback from end users, and that's all what I care about. Right, there are times like advanced user might buy it and they'll like, well, I really want my forms to do an e-commerce thing, and I'm like, well, then you should buy an e-commerce plugin. I think over the years, certain forms plugin have gone and built these almost mini e-commerce things inside it. That's not what we want to do, right? If you're looking for a form plugin that is also an e-commerce-ish plugin, then you want to use something else. But if you want a pure form builder that does something really, really well that others don't do, then you want to use WP Forms. Like our conditional logic, we have logic grouping, which most forms don't do. We have partial form submissions, which is for a marketer feature that most forms don't do. So we're really focusing on things that help your business grow, not just, oh, this looks cool, let me add this filter in. So sure. So that's been the differentiator, and we're crushing it. I think we're crushing it. But
absolutely. And I can just say that anybody that I've talked to and any review that I've been reading from people that I respect who use WP Forms have said exactly what you said. It's going really well. It's super easy, and it's right for the market that you described. Yeah. So very impressive. How about some of the other products that are in your catalog?
Enviro Gallery is another one that we're excited about. We're actually working on Enviro Gallery 2.0, which is a huge refactor of all the add-ons that we have. So Thomas, my business partner and CTO, he created Enviro Gallery because he wanted a bloat-free experience to create galleries. At the point, there was only one dominant player. There's still number one dominant player, right? That's out there. Everybody knows about it. And Thomas wanted to just create something that was simple, easy to use. So he created Enviro Gallery. And over the years, we have added like features after features after features. I think right now there's almost 30 different add-ons in Enviro Gallery. It takes you from Lightroom all the way to selling. photos.
Yeah.
The full suite. So if you're a photographer and you want a gallery plugin that's fast, that's easy to use, Enviro Gallery is a solution for you. And with the refactor, it's going to be even better. Like, we're adding some cool new designs to it, performance improvements, several enhancements that we just think, over the years, that what we have learned, we want to implement a lot of the things. So I think that's one of the challenge for being a legacy product. Like Enviro is a relatively older product compared to somebody who's just enter now. Technologies change. You find faster and better ways of doing it. So a refactor, every now and again is important for you to keep up with times and still say, look, we're still the best. So that's pretty exciting. We have Soliloquy Slider that had a refactor a while ago. Really, really fast, really efficient. It can do like PDF to slides. So if you're a speaker and you want to create like a slide deck stuff on your own website, you can do that with Soliloquy. So it's quite neat. Unlike other sliders which give you a gazillion options, we don't. It's pretty plug and play. Some people really love it for that because it's fast. Others hate it. They're like, no, I want to have a mini Photoshop inside my WordPress. And we're like, well, I guess then you should go do something else, right? That's not what we're about to build. We're not about to build piece of crap bloat. We want to keep it lean, mean, fast, and functional.
Yeah, and you're doing that really well. I'm always impressed that you are capable of, as a leader of this business, you're capable of like totally going toe to toe with any developer and getting as technical as you need to with a very thorough understanding of all the technicalities, the challenges that you face, the need for refactoring and all of that. And I know you did development back in the day. Do you ever write any code anymore? And how do you like keep up on all of this stuff that your team is encountering?
It's a very interesting challenge. So I did write code in the early days. I don't touch any code. As a matter of fact, I technically don't have commit access to the code that we have. Now I do, but I don't, right? I haven't touched code in a long time, but I feel that coding is more about the understanding of the broader concept rather than just writing a piece of code. If you can architect the thing the right way, it will work. Going forward, you have to tweak a little bit here and there, rather than just writing. And to be honest, I don't have to do all of that anymore. At least to a greater extent, I don't, because Thomas does all of that. Right? He's the CTO of the company, one of the smartest developers that I know, and he's the leader of the company when it comes to the development side of things. So that allows me to focus on what I'm really, really good at, which is marketing and business. Yes, I can understand all the development stuff. Yes, I can, walk one through most and some of the concept if needed. But that's Thomas's domain, right? And that's what he's good at, and that's what we look for in a partnership is, what's your strength? You stick to that. You have to find complementary skill sets, and just like hone in your strengths, and that's the formula for success of a company.
You've managed to build a pretty impressive team. A lot of people that I respect pretty highly. What do you, what are your some of the lessons that you've learned, and what do you attribute this success to? Your ability to just get great people.
I think that it starts with building a company where you would want to work yourself. Number one thing in our core values is people first. We put people above everything, above the product, above the profits, above anything else that matters. And what do I mean by people? That people that work with us in the team, and our customers that support us throughout. So that's the number one thing that we care about, and we go out of our way to make sure we take care of our people, whether it's our team members and whether it's our customers. And I think that that has played a huge role in building out a company culture in the way that we have. And the other thing, which I thoroughly believe is, your customers will never love a product until your team loves it first. And your customers will never love a company until your team loves it first. And going back to the number one core value, when you have that, you build a company where people want to buy from, people want to work, and yeah. So we don't have to actively go out and recruit people. We know where to say, oh yeah, we would love for you to work. When we post up a job posting, we get hundreds of candidates that we sort through, and we're blessed to have that kind of reputation, and some of the smartest people in the WordPress community working for us. And I know, unlike other companies, we don't really do press releases when we hire a new employee, which I think is kind of cool to see other people do. But we have some really, really smart people working in the company. Thomas, he created the TGM activation class, right? That runs, it's pretty much the main dependency class that all the Envato marketplace and other plugins use. It's called TGM because Thomas Griffin Media.
Right.
We have Chris Christoph, who's in the core team. He's part of the security research team, as well as several other teams in the WordPress platform. Really good, team member. So it's really, really smart. So we have a lot of well-reputed people. Jared, was one of them. Aaron, another one. I can keep naming names, but
I know.
we have a great team, and it's because of the culture that we have.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it. It's pretty phenomenal. So I'm curious. I was now I lost my train of thought. So you have been building this business for a while, and have gone through some transitions and some changes in focus and some additions and occasional subtractions and stuff. Generally speaking, what aspects of your business, especially from your perspective, your role as the business and marketing guy, what areas are you kind of like planning on doubling down on even more in the future because you think this is becoming even more important than ever?
I mean, I think everything that we do is very, very important, and we need to double down on that. We're constantly hiring on technical support and developers, just because as we grow, we need to keep up with support, and we need to keep up with the development needs that we have. So we're constantly growing there. And in order to keep the engine going, you have to grow the marketing team as well. So I don't think it's one area that you particularly focus on and say, let me just grow this, because in order for a company, which is, if you think of it like a motor or an engine or an ecosystem or environment, for everything has to work in synchronous, for it to work really, really well. So yeah, I think the best thing that where I'm particularly focusing on, or the most important thing within the organization, is helping our team become leaders. Helping everybody kind of taking on a leader role. So as we hire more people, you become, they are the extension of me in helping the new employees on board and training them and whatnot, and welcoming them to the Automotive family, because we're I think about 45 people now, and it's hard for me to interact with every single one every day, but that's why we have leaders within the team that are making sure everybody feels like, especially the new employees.
Yeah. As your business has become more successful, you've also done more philanthropy work as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit about some of the things that you've done outside of work, just to help others?
Both Amanda and I, my wife Amanda and I, we value education a lot, and we believe that probably the only way to solve most of the world's problem is through education. Whether it's poverty, whether it's anything literally. So we've worked with several different charities. Pencil of Promise, we worked with to build like 3 schools in Guatemala, and both of the times we did fundraisers through WP Beginner, where we did largest WordPress giveaway, and where I would match up to 25 grand of whatever was donated. So we built 3 schools with Pencil of Promise. We just finished the school this year in Cambodia, with the Cambodian Village Fund. So yeah, most of the money that we contribute towards is educational causes.
That's incredible. And so do you expect to continue doing very similar projects?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So we're like trying to work more within our local area as well. So to help underprivileged kids with school supplies, as well as like college scholarships.
Sure. Yeah, that's really exciting,
Yeah.
and that's super cool and an inspiration to a lot of other people. So, what does life look like? Besides the work and the philanthropy, what does your life look like outside of your desk? And
I just had a kid 6 months ago. So we had a little boy, Solomon. He keeps us busy and entertained also. And so yeah, and I also have two puppies. So yeah, most outside of work, my life is practically around my family.
yeah,
Whether it's my wife and kid, or it's my parents, or my siblings, or my cousins. I have like a pretty huge family, so we're always like getting together, barbecue, swim, just hang out. So yeah, outside of work, it's all family.
that's great. That's really cool. Do you get to many opportunities to travel?
Yeah, I travel quite a lot. Most of the time it's for work. Because I speak at different events. Just about every month I'm speaking somewhere. For example, in June I'm going to WordCamp Europe to speak there. So yeah, I travel quite a lot, and I have tons and tons of miles.
That's pretty cool. I'm looking to do some more traveling lately. Do you have any just favorite destinations that maybe I wouldn't know of?
Huh. No, I don't know what you know and what you don't know. I
I'm not
really,
well traveled.
I really enjoyed our Alaska trip when we took it. It was phenomenal. I had a great time. Driving through Yellowstone and
Yeah.
just seeing all the different things nature has to offer. Had a great time. Driving through Sequoia National Park and Yosemite and Kings Canyon and all those. So.
Mm,
I mean, we love nature, so
I
we're
guess
just
so.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Appreciating the great outdoors. Yeah, that's super cool. So I want to. I was hoping to ask you just a little bit about some of the trends that I'm noticing in our industry, and I know I'm bouncing around here just a little bit, but we're seeing a lot of new things in the WordPress space. I haven't even been in it quite as long as you, but I've noticed like things are a little bit different each year. We're seeing a greater investment from bigger companies, which is kind of making an interesting impact. We're seeing this sort of move towards SaaS for a lot of businesses instead of away from kind of this self-hosted distributed software. Um, what are some of the big trends that you're watching the most closely that have the biggest impact on our space?
Consolidation is a big one. As you mentioned, investments coming from bigger companies, even PE and VCs. So consolidation is something that you always want to look out for, just because um, in a space when a lot of money is infused, that means a lot of resources just got added, and your competition just got stiffer.
Mm,
Especially if you happen to be in that space. So you always have to watch out for those kind of things. Um, you know, I believe consolidation is the biggest one that I'm watching very closely to see which company gets acquired by who.
mm,
And just seeing that. In terms of move to SaaS, I think it's a cool subject that everybody likes to talk about.
yeah.
But some people do it just because they want to. Others do it because they need to. For example, we turned Optinmonster into a SaaS, right? We started out as a WordPress plugin, and then we converted it to a full SaaS in 2015. And in
Yeah.
fact, I believe we were like one of the first companies, not the first, maybe one of the first companies, and actually, if not, probably think we were the first to transition from a 100% plugin to a full SaaS. And discontinuing the plugin part of it.
Sure.
And we made that switch for a variety of reasons. Number one, we were the best lead generation solution in the market, period. But we had limited our market to WordPress only, which you think is 25% of the web or 27% of the web, whatever the number is, maybe 28, I don't know. But there's still that much of the web that's left. And the biggest question we would get, hey, does Optinmonster work outside? We were getting press coverages in Forbes and Inc. and Fast Company and all these bigger sites, and it would attract website owners that were not WordPress, and they were like, hey, does this work outside of WordPress? And we're like, no. And every time we said no, part of me was like, right, we could have had this customer. And eventually it got to a point where we're like, we have to make a SaaS offering. Also, I think the other reason for us was because we integrated with so many different providers. I mean, we integrated with more than 24 email marketing companies, right? From your MailChimps and Awebbers to Infusionsoft, Marketo, HubSpot, all the way up to Eloqua. And with these integrations, as you have multiple parties playing, and you introduce a completely different animal of web hosting, the client's web hosting, that complicates things. So maybe some certain server has a certain port that's off, and then it breaks this integration. Then the customer blames us, but rather it's the hosting company or the hosting configuration problem rather than So to eliminate those issues, we also made a switch to SaaS. So there was two things simultaneously going. Number one, we want as a business, we wanted to expand our market share. That was our number one reason. The byproduct of that was when we went SaaS, we also eliminated support aspect of it. That came with a self-hosted offer, right? By the way, you don't eliminate one problem entirely. You eliminate one and get new ones. Yeah. Okay, so a lot of people think going SaaS, we eliminate all the problems and we're great now. We're not. You just introduce a new set of problems. Okay. Sure. When we were self-hosted, we did not ever have to think about scalability of our own website.
True.
Right. When you go SaaS, now you're responsible for hosting billions and billions of impressions on a monthly basis. And now you have to think about a whole new set of problems, right? So you eliminate one thing, but you add a new sort of things. So that's always an interesting conversation that I have with WordPress product owners. Switching from plugin to SaaS, everybody wants to do it, but it's one of those things that grass is greener on the other side. But yeah, I think everybody wants to experience it.
Well, that's good perspective from somebody who's done it, who's pioneered it and gone large scale in that direction to say, maybe you guys shouldn't get too gung ho about this direction.
Yeah, one of the questions we get, after switching Optinmonster to SaaS is, hey, will Enviro Gallery go SaaS, or will WP Forms go SaaS? And the short answer is no. In order for us to make Enviro Gallery a SaaS, we would have to build our own content management system.
Yeah.
Which is, right? Like, think about it. The gallery only works because WordPress. We would have to build our own, to add a gallery, you have to have a website first. Sure. So it's kind of chicken and egg kind of thing. So no, we're not building a SaaS on Enviro Gallery. In WP Forms, are we going to build a SaaS? Probably not. And not in the near future, not in the next year, not in the next 2 years. I don't see us building a SaaS. Just because I think the SaaS market is well served. I think the void was in the WordPress space, not in the SaaS space. You have phenomenal players out in the SaaS space like Wufoo, or FormStack, and others, the Typeform. I think those companies are doing a phenomenal job in the SaaS space. In the WordPress space, I saw there was a need, and we created WP Forms. So it's just like to each their own kind of.
So probably a lot of people are looking at it for more business reasons, where it doesn't really make sense for that particular product.
Yeah, I think everybody likes to have a monthly recurring, right? Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to have a monthly recurring, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think you self-select at that point. You say, yeah, I want to do that, and good luck, to everybody, and you're gonna figure something out.
Sure. Well, our time is winding down. I have just a couple of final questions for you. You said you travel a lot, you go to a lot of events. What's on your calendar that someone might bump into you at in the future?
So I am going to WordCamp Europe in June, mid-June. I am going to be at Affiliate Summit East, which is in New York. I will be at Entreports Conference, Entrepalooza in October. I will also be at Cabo Press, which is a WordPress mastermind. I will more likely than not be at WordCamp USA. Let's see, in between, I may stop. I'll probably go to Post Status Publish event. So yes, I mean, there's like a laundry list of events that I have planned. Like, I would have to open my calendar, but these are some of the top ones that came.
Sure. Sure. What do you look when you're? I mean, there's so many events. What are the types of events that you look for or say that might be worthy of adding to my calendar?
I enjoy marketing events, and I always go to Affiliate Summit because one, I'm in the advisory board for Affiliate Summit, but I meet tons of friends. It's all about networking. Another event I quite enjoy is Traffic and Conversion Summit. That happens in February, March. Social Media Marketing World is also a great event to go and meet tons of awesome influencers. A lot of friends of mine there. So there's several events that I enjoy going to, and now more so because I meet so many people that I know rather than meeting new people. I love meeting new people, and I meet new people every time I go. But I also want to spend a significant amount of time catching up with all the people that I met last year or the year before.
Sure.
And it's just amazing. It's kind of like your extended family. And I feel the same way when I go to a WordPress event and I meet so many people that I've known. I feel like I've known them, for years.
Sure.
So yeah.
Awesome. So you mentioned all these people that you know. Do you happen to know of any really great names that I should consider adding to my list of asking on the show in the future?
No. I think you're in the Post Status Slack group, and there's tons of amazing people in there that I don't know who you have had on your show in the last 100 or so episodes. So I did not get a chance to browse through your entire guest list. So I think you know that better than me. And I think you also have like a list of people that you want to talk with. So
yeah, there's no doubt. After 3 years, we've worked our way through a lot of people. Yeah. Well, Syed, it's just been an awesome discussion. Do you have any parting words of wisdom, and also how could people get in touch with you or follow you if they were so inclined?
I guess parting words of wisdom: put your customers first and build everything for your customers. Ignore the noise. And to find me, you can find me on @Syed Balkhi on Twitter, on Facebook. You want to know about WordPress, wpbeginner.com. You can click on the products page and find out all the products that we have. But yeah.
Perfect. Well, Syed, thanks so much for taking this afternoon to chat with me. I really appreciate your time. I'll let you get back to work, and I'll do the same. And you just have an awesome day.
Thank you for having me, Kyle. Take care. Bye-bye.